Hey, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, Seethruthescript, and today I want to talk about the music industry, but specifically focusing my attention towards rock music. I do just want to point out that I am well aware that rock music has several subgenres. However, this video will pertain to the general genre and bands that have openly displayed their allegiance to Satan through forms of music, imagery, and even openly vocalizing it. Now, I know that some may say it's just a form of artistic expression or a deep passion for dark imagery. However, in my humble opinion, call it what you will, one must always remember that when you play with fire, you are bound to get burned. So before I get into the video, for those new here, I use the practice of English Gematria, which is the practice of assigning a number to each letter in the alphabet. When you spell out a word or a phrase, you get a numerical value at which you seek the hidden patterns within them. That being said, this is also paired with the date numerology, factoring things like the date numerology paths, day or days left in the year, and date duration. All of those are very important when decoding. Now, one could argue music as a whole is a form of magic, and many of your favorite artists would tell you the same. When it comes to music, it's truly a form of language. For example, numerical scales, musical notes, and the ability for humans worldwide to resonate and connect with each other simply over a love for a song. However, making that great song requires many components, and one of those components of the music is typically the subject matter, that being lyrics. These lyrics for certain subgenres of rock music do tend to be filled with things such as rage and frustration over loud instrumentation. Again, I'm not judging the quality of the art, more its influence it has on the listeners. Now, just to be clear, let's read the definition of the word occult. The occult, in the broadest sense, is a category of supernatural beliefs and practices which generally fall outside the scope of religion and science, encompassing such phenomena involving otherworldly agency as mysticism, spirituality, and magic. Keyword being magic. The industry uses artists to incorporate the occult into music, making music a form of magic to influence and harvest the energy of the listener. Now, you pair that with the occultic symbolism and satanic imagery, this could lead to negative vibrations engulfing those who choose to consume it, as we said. Now, I think it's fair to say that rock music, for the majority of the time it's been around, has teetered the line between music and downright Satanism. Granted, the genre has been around for so long, I truly couldn't show every example, and I'm bound to miss some really good ones. However, here are a few extremely clear numerical tributes to Satan from rock bands still active today, as well as just going over examples of how the occultism, mysticism being Kabbalah, is incorporated within this music industry. So for the first example, I'm going to start with the rock artist who undoubtedly carries the Satanism agenda on his back single-handedly, being Marilyn Manson.
Of its influence on young minds. They voiced their fear and their fury on a local radio show this morning.
I'm just thoroughly disgusted with this group totally, like I'm sure a lot of other people are. And like you said, other people have said, they, to me, are a hate group. Mm-hmm. And I put them right up there with the KKK, skinheads. They're just out to recruit others, to hurt people.
Marilyn Manson foes say they only have to point to these kids to prove how dangerous the music can be. Rod Farrell and his followers in the Western Kentucky vampire cult are huge Marilyn Manson fans. The accused murderers have said Marilyn Manson's music touches something dark in them. And then there's Natasha Cornett, the alleged leader of an Eastern Kentucky cult charged with killing 3 members of a Tennessee family. She's told her lawyer she believes she is the daughter of Satan and that she wants to meet Marilyn Manson. Cornett says the band helped spread her satanic message. Of course, this is a new battle over an old issue. In May 1984, Ozzy Osbourne came to town, and his visit caused quite a ruckus. Osbourne had bitten the head off of a bat not long before his trip to Louisville, and parents and church leaders were worried about his satanic message.
And I think that this group here makes Ozzy Osbourne look like Mr. Rogers.
Marilyn Manson has met opposition in many other cities so far, sometimes even violence. Protesters here say they want peace, but they want parents to beware.
And Rolling Stone went on to dub him the Antichrist superstar. Marilyn has been known for years to be very outlandish and do things on stage such as tearing up Bibles, making his band participate in pain rituals, sleep deprivation, and copious amounts of mind-altering drugs. That being said, he released an album titled Heaven Upside Down in 2017, and as expected, there are esoteric droplets riddled throughout the album. Before explaining the two obvious examples, I just want to point out the gematria of the album title in cohesion with the name. Heaven Upside Down, Marilyn Manson, equals 137. Notice that this matches with the phrase mind control, which equals 137. And as you saw from that clip earlier, clearly the music that these artists put out is influencing others and mind controlling them ultimately. Now notice track number 4 on the album is titled Satin. Obviously this sounds a lot like the word Satan, but with gematria one could see that words like God and Satan both equal 10 in gematria. Think about what the subject matter always is revolving around the artist Marilyn Manson. Now moving on to track number 6, Marilyn Manson pays tribute to the Roman god Saturn that governs time, limitation, and death, or what others refer to as being the god of the occult world. Now notice the numerical tribute to Saturn on track number 6 titled Saturnalia. Using gematria, one could see that Saturn equals 21, the sixth triangular number. Another interesting fact regarding Saturn is that Saturn is the 6th planet in our orbit, alongside the fact that Saturday is the 6th day of our week, named after Saturn. I think you get the joke. Lastly, notice in gematria the numerical connections between the words Saturnalia, Satan, Baphomet, and paganism. Now moving on, you have the rock band The Foo Fighters, who in 2021 released an interesting album titled Hail Satin, a clear play on words regarding the phrase Hail Satan. Now notice this album released specifically on July 17th of 2021. That has date numerology of 24 when you add the month plus the day. Notice in Chaldean gematria, the title of the album Hail Satin equals 24, alongside the words Satanism and magic. Mind you, Kabbalah is a form of mysticism, aka magic. And an interesting fact is that the word Kabbalah actually has 24 variations of spelling. Also worth noting, Hail Satin released 223 days before the release of Studio 666. The phrase, the synagogue of Satan, equals 223 in gematria in the English ordinal cipher. This is interesting, being that in Revelation chapter 2 verse 9, in the 21st century King James Version, it states, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Remember that we are using the Jewish practice of gematria that comes from Kabbalah to decipher this. Also, it's interesting how the word Jewish in gematria equals 29 in the most pure cipher, and this verse about the Jews is on chapter 2, verse 9, like 29. Now back on track, I bring this up to only dive into their new project that will have released on February 25th of 2022. And if people didn't get the hint on their last album, this time the Foo Fighters would make their pledge of allegiance much more obvious. On the 25th of February, Foo Fighters are releasing a comedy film titled Studio 666, which is about their process spent making their 10th studio album. Remember what I said about the number 10, y'all. However, let's start here. From the release of their latest album, Medicine at Midnight, their 10th project, to the release of Studio 666 is a span of exactly 55 weeks. Notice God and Satan both equal 55 in gematria. What's worth noting is that 55, when you break it down, is simply 5 plus 5 equaling 10. Or the fact that 55 is the 10th and is also the 10th Fibonacci number. So a lot of mathematical relationships between the number 55 and 10. Think about how this film titled Studio 666 is all about their 10th album. Again, God, Satan, 10, 666, number of the beast. I think you get the point. However, the Lucifer tributes continue. Notice from Dave Grohl, the lead singer of the Foo Fighters' 53rd birthday to the release of Studio 666 is a span of 43 days. Dave Grohl and Lucifer both equal 43 in Gematria. Now, moving on to the date numerology of the release date, notice it has prime numerology of 69 when you add it accordingly. This is in connection to the phrase Jewish mysticism and the Jesuit order, both equaling 69. For those who are not aware, the Jesuit order are the largest global missionary group in the world, serving as the militant arm of the Roman Catholic Church that is currently being reigned over by the first ever member of the Society of Jesus to become Pope, being Pope Francis. Notice that phrase Society of Jesus equals 56, like the phrase mind control. An interesting fact is that cinema's invention is credited to a Jesuit scholar by the name of Athanasius Kircher, making the magic lantern, which brainwashed many a people in the 1600s and onwards due to its highly advanced technology that hadn't been seen before at that time. With all that said, notice Studio 666 is releasing on February 25th, the 56th day of our calendar year. How fitting that Studio 666 in Gematria equals 56. Lastly, notice the film is releasing on the 25th day of February. This is by no coincidence, as the word devil equals 25 in the most pure cipher. Moving on, we have another rock band that has entrenched themselves with occultic imagery throughout their careers. That group is Slipknot. Now, this has to be one of the most blatant usages of Gematria in the audience's face. In the year 2008, the band Slipknot released the album titled All Hope Is Gone. Now, track number 2 was given a very interesting title. The name of the song is Gematria, the killing name. Again, this video is going over how Gematria is riddled throughout the entertainment industry, but rock specifically in this case. Now, what's fascinating is that the word Gematria in the practice of Gematria has a numerical value of 38. The number 38 is heavily associated with words such as death, murder, killing, and RIP. Now, 2 years later, after the release of the album All Hope Is Gone with the track Gematria, the killing name, the first member of Slipknot to die was Paul Gray, the bassist and the main songwriter, at the not so arbitrary age of 38. What solidifies this even further is that in Gematria, when you spell out Paul Gray, it has the value of 38, like his age of his death. Keep in mind, he was one of the main songwriters, one of their songs being Gematria, the killing name. Coincidence? I think not. Now, to further stack evidence of mysticism within the music industry, notice 11 years later, the band Slipknot loses another band member by the name of Joey Jordison at the age of 46, a number heavily associated with sacrifice in Gematria, as sacrifice has the value of 46 in the most pure cipher. But what further stamps this sacrifice is the fact that Joey, the drummer of Slipknot, died at the age of 46, when their band name in Gematria, Slipknot, equals 46. Now, last but not least, how could I end this video without referencing one of the best examples of clear numerical mockery in music coming from the band The Police of their 1983 album release titled Synchronicity, their 5th and final studio album, where they drop a huge gem using the simplest lyrics. On track number 11 of the album Synchronicity by The Police, there is a song titled Murder by Numbers. Think about how Paul Gray and Joey Jordison of the band Slipknot died 11 years apart from each other, both in numerical rituals. However, let's read through some of the lyrics for the song titled Murder by Numbers. Mind you, in Gematria, the word murder equals 83, and The Police released this song in 1983, emphasis on the 83. The lyrics go, "Once that you've decided on a killing, first you make a stone of your heart, and if you find that your hands are still willing, then you can turn a murder into art. There really isn't any need for bloodshed, you just do it with a little more finesse. If you can slip a tablet into someone's coffee, then it avoids an awful lot of mess. Because it's murder by numbers, 1, 2, 3, it's as easy to learn as your ABCs. Now, if you have a taste for this experience, and if you're flushed with your very first success, then you must try a twosome or a threesome. You'll find your conscience bothers you much less, because murder is like anything something you take to. It's a habit-forming needing for more and more. You can bump off every member of your family and anybody else you find a bore, and then the hook comes back. And then the last verse. Now you can join the ranks of the illustrious in history's great dark hall of fame. All our greatest killers were industrious, at least the ones we all know by name. But you can reach the top of your profession if you become the leader of the land. For murder is the sport of the elected, and you don't need to lift a finger of your hand. And then the hook comes back. It's murder by numbers, 1, 2, 3. It's as easy to learn as your ABCs. So I mean, I think it's fair to say that the album titled Synchronicity is trying to tell us that these numbers syncing up regarding these entertainers' deaths are by no coincidence, but rather extensive ritualistic planning. But anyways, that's my take on the intrusion of occultism, Satanism, and mysticism within the genre of rock music. As I stated at the beginning of the video, that this isn't an attack on the art or the music, rather revealing a hidden layer under the music that was meant to only be observed by our subconscious. Now I'm gonna wrap this up with a clip of rock legend Bob Dylan explaining his bargain he made with the industry, so be sure to check that out. But other than that, it's been real. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you did, be sure to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to your boy. Follow me on Instagram at Seethruthescript. All my other links are in the description below. Peace and love. I'm out.
You're still on tour.
I do, but I don't take it for granted.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my hand.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in the world we can't see.